What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Fall Obsession podcast episode. My name is Sam. I am your host over here. Appreciate you all listening. This week, I got two of my all-time favorite people joining me for this podcast. I love recording with these guys. Todd Sellon, our staff manager here at Fall Obsession from Michigan. He's back on the show. And Andy Meeks, one of our staff members from Minnesota. He's joining us. Todd and Andy recently had a snow goose hunt up in North Dakota, which is why I asked them to come back on here and join me. But this is one of those episodes, guys, where you just feel like you're hanging out with the guys. You're hanging out in hunting camp, just having a good time. It feels like home, and definitely have these two bringing that feeling to this episode. So hope you guys feel like you are in hunting camp, just telling old stories, laughing, cutting up, having a good time with the rest of us during this episode. It's a good time. Don't skip it. Tune in, listen, enjoy it. I know I did. Before we get to the conversation, I do want to point you guys in the direction of fallobsession.com, specifically for our 2025 turkey hunt competition. It's springtime right now. It's turkey season. And if you are hunting turkeys and you successfully take one, you need to enter it in the contest. That's all you have to do. You just hunt turkeys like you normally do. You don't have to travel. You don't have to pay for a non-resident license. Just document some specific statistics on your bird and enter those when you enter your bird and register in the competition. We got some great prizes. We got cash pots, so you can win money, first, second, and third place, take home a cash pot, as well as gear from Hoot Camo and Wiley X. We also have two different sweepstakes or giveaways that are running alongside of this contest, and you can pick up tickets for that sweepstakes at registration. One sweepstake is for gear. We got like broadheads, eyewear, camo. We got all sorts of cool stuff that we're going to be giving away to multiple ticket holders as a part of that sweepstake. And then the second one is for a $9,000 African safari hunt package from News on Safaris. You can also enter for that one if you'd like. So guys, go to fallobsession.com/hunt-competition to learn more, to see exactly how we're doing this, to see how you can participate, and to register today. Don't miss out. And on that note, if you guys are not subscribed and following Fall Obsession on all the major social media platforms, please do so. We post daily, frequent updates from our staff. Wherever you are listening to this podcast, please make sure that you hit that follow or subscribe button, whatever they have up there for you. Turn the notifications on if that's an option. That way you guys know every time we drop a new episode. We normally drop new episodes on Mondays on all the major podcasting platforms and Carbon TV. And then we also put our podcast videos on our YouTube channel on Thursdays. Head on over to that YouTube channel, subscribe. You can watch our hunting shows, our hunting films, listen to the podcast, catch our gear reviews. All that stuff's on the YouTube channel. Go subscribe over there. The website has all that same content, plus some educational articles, some apparel, some other cool stuff on the website that you guys can be a part of. So go check us out over there. And I already mentioned Carbon TV. If you don't know what Carbon TV is, it's like Netflix for hunting, basically. It's a free hunting and outdoor streaming platform for you guys where you can stream hunting shows, films, and podcasts from all sorts of great creators across the country. We at Fall Obsession produce 4 different shows on Carbon TV. This podcast is on there, as well as our staff-inspired video podcast series called Couch Chats, and our 2 different hunting shows titled Texas Dirt and Midwest Mindset. Guys, go download the Carbon TV app, put it on your smart TV, or just pull it up on your computer and start watching immediately. You won't be disappointed. Go check them out. Stay tuned during the episode for some discount codes from our sponsor. And with that, we are heading on over to our conversation with Todd and Andy. You guys are listening to another Fall Obsession podcast.
Oh, you got her, dude. She's down.
Let's go.
Dude, I just shot a deer of a lifetime.
Freaking smoked him.
One with nature, and if you're a believer, one with God.
Definitely gets your heart pumping. Boy, you are in trouble.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
All right, guys, we are back for another Fall Obsession podcast episode. I am on here with two of the very best guys around here on the Fall Obsession team, Todd Sellon, our staff manager, and Andy Meeks from Minnesota. Welcome back, guys. It's gonna be a
Hey,
good
thanks for
time.
having us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, I'm excited. It is always a good time to hang out with you two, and I feel like it's been a while since we did this too. So
Absolutely. Well, we have our campfire chats. Andy was there that first time, I think, right? We actually were making fun of Andy quite a bit that first time.
That's okay. I'm used to that.
yeah, no, those have been pretty fun getting to hang out with the team and kind of that casual setting and everything. I missed the last one, but I've been enjoying them for sure.
In fact, the last one, that's when you picked me up at the airport, Andy,
Yes, it was.
because he asked me, what was the campfire chat? I said, tonight. It was tonight. He was like, oh. And then Keth called me, like, on the spot. We're like, oh, my gosh, impeccable time. Like, here's Keth right here. So
I got my Thursday and Friday mixed up.
That happens all the time in my world.
Right.
So I get that. Well, guys, let's start it off. You guys, to your point, Todd, Andy picked you up from the airport here pretty recently, like you just mentioned, but you went up there for a little bit of Snow Goose action up there in North Dakota. Let's hear about that. How was that hunt?
a little fun in the snow. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was our best production wise. It was the best, in terms of numbers of snow geese that we shot. I mean, it was the best we've ever had. I mean, we've done this for 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
And so if you look at from a number standpoint, it was the best. When you look at from a hanging out standpoint, it's always the best when you get to hang out with follow-up session staffers.
Especially Andy.
100%. Well, trust me, we did not stop laughing. Okay.
We're dancing in the stand. We cut that, right?
Yeah, I got that video. Yeah. No,
and that's what I love about Snow Goose. You don't have to be quiet. You don't have to be still until they come, of course. But
yeah. How long is the Snow Goose season up there?
It runs from, I believe, middle of February to, I know the ending date is May 15th.
Mhm.
And I've been in North Dakota Memorial weekend, and I've seen 5 snow geese at about May, the end of May. And I don't know if they ever stick around that long, but yes, it's it runs till May 15th. But no, it's something the spring time is good to have. So, and yeah. In between different seasons.
Well, they made this year, though, huh?
What
because
now?
We got into a lot of adults this year. We thought we were going to be into the jubies, but we had one day where we were just hammering the adults. The second Saturday.
Yeah, it was all adult birds, big white birds, and yeah, it was incredible. Very little juvies. And then I talked to my old man yesterday, Todd, and he says there's 4 inches of snow on the ground up there. So,
wow.
And all the flocks that he saw were mostly heading south, and that's actually a really good sign. So, I mean, it's kind of maybe prolonging the season a little bit for a lot of us hunters. Springtime's always just weird, how these snowstorms pop up, and you just never know. I mean, it could be 70 degrees or 30 degrees. So,
I don't know what it is. It just seems like across the country right now, the weather is just insane. Like before we record, Todd was, telling me about all of their weather adventures, on their vacation and everything that they're having. And like, this is day 3 here in Texas with highs in the 50s again. But next weekend, when we're doing our staff Texas hog hunt, it's going to be in the 80s. So
it's incredible with your weather. Yeah, I was listening to something that said you had like 90 degrees and all of a sudden it went down to 60, like overnight, and just like 90 to 60.
Yeah, I actually need to go out tomorrow.
So we stopped. So we took off Thursday and went to Horse Cave, Kentucky, which is where Logan lives. Yeah, I told you we were going to see Logan and Andy last week too.
Yep.
They were having storms all week, and he's helping to restore power in Kentucky in his area. So he was just. Man, he was nonstop, you know what I mean? And so we couldn't hook up because he was so busy. On Friday, because we were planning on staying in Horse Cave on Thursday and Friday Friday, we took the family, we went to Mammoth Cave, we found a little break in the weather, and it had stormed like crazy Thursday night, like the most violent storms I've ever heard in my life. Really loud.
Really?
It really, oh yeah. And so we were able to tour the caves. We got out, and Jessica, who was Logan's wife, she texted me and said, "Hey, just want to let you know we're under a tornado watch right now. And it's supposed to get really, really bad starting at 3 p.m." And we got out of the caves at about, it was about 12:30. And we're like, oh my gosh. She said, Logan's at work. I don't know if we'll be able to hook up. I'm like, don't feel pressured. So we went back to the hotel and just said to the hotel, hey, what can you do for us if we leave now because of the weather? And they're like, we'll give you a full refund. We don't want you guys to get trapped in the weather. So then we ended up getting a hotel in Nashville, a really nice hotel. So we drove down to Nashville and got out of the weather, and then spent the day in Nashville yesterday. Then today, we took off from northern Alabama. We drove in torrential storm, like literally the car in front. I could barely see the car in front of me. It was so bad. Windshield wipers on high for, gosh, 3.5 hours.
Oh.
It was bad. Even now it's really windy. You can see the trees blowing. You can hear the thunder off in the distance.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. I was going to,
yeah.
sorry,
Cool.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
You're good.
Now, I was going to say, I think that you might be the first guy on the podcast that has an actual ocean behind you as your background. I think Nick might have done like the fake background one time with the ocean, but I think you're the first one with the real ocean background behind you.
The name is in question. It's debatable, I guess, right?
It
It's
looks
what
awesome.
we call it, but there's an ocean out there.
Yeah. Looks pretty fun. Yeah.
Is it warm down there right now, Todd?
Yeah. She's right there on the other side. So I'm right outside on the porch here. And so they have dinner going right now. So
Oh, right on. What's the temp out right now down there?
oh, it's about 76 right now. I'm in a hoodie because I have fall obsession stuff on it.
I hear you.
So
Loyalty.
I'm sweating a little bit, but yeah, it's about 76 right now and really muggy. Oh my gosh. And we get this humidity in Michigan, but I mean, this is our summer in Michigan. It's really humid usually. We usually get 80 degree temps with like 85% humidity or more, you know? And so this is kind of normal. So this is awesome because it feels like summer here right now, and I'm roasting, but whatever. It is what it is.
I was going to say, that's how dedicated to fall obsession Todd is. He's sweating in a hoodie right now recording the podcast. But it says fall obsession on it.
It's fall obsession.
That's all that matters.
By the end of this podcast, I may be sleeveless here, but
Heather's going to come around and cut the sleeves off real quick.
Oh, funny.
yeah.
And Andy, what's new in your world, man?
Not too much. Just work's starting to pick up here a little bit. Just starting to get ramped up for this summer, and yeah, it's gonna be a busy summer. That's kind of why I'm get this the snow goose season over with and start turkey hunting, and then yeah, jump right into summer work and be busy all summer. I guess that's about it. So got son's playing baseball, so I got a lot of carting around kids, and
Yeah.
it's okay. But it's always a good time. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What you got a lot of turkey hunting planned for the spring?
Yeah, yes and no. I'm just trying to still find my spot out. I asked a couple farmers. They're kind of still in limbo of because they have family members that hunt too, and I don't like to step on toes like that. I just if you have a spot for me, and I'm more than happy. I'm more concentrated on getting my son his turkey again. That's kind of when we get older, I guess it's kind of maybe a little bit more rewarding to watch someone else shoot a turkey instead of yourself. It's and you watch him go through it because I feel the same feelings. I just got done watching it, but yes, I'm more concentrate on him. Trust me, I want to shoot turkey too. Don't get me wrong. I'll be selfish at some point.
Here in North Dakota, you posted that picture or that video of Andy shooting that turkey, decapping that turkey. We were in the blind just watching it over and over.
So it's funny. It's very, very funny that you bring that up, Todd, because and I've never done this on the podcast, but I'm going to try to share a screen right now. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Yep, you got it.
I don't know if, and hopefully it's in the video for our viewers, but I wanted to play this. I wanted to talk about this because this is one of my favorite turkey hunting videos of all time right here.
And with this was one of my favorite too. Sound on, please. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was emotions. That was 2020. That was when we were stuck in the house,
Oh yeah.
and you're just. This was my first time turkey hunting with a bow. I always did shotgun before, and I was always unsuccessful until I got this opportunity, and now I don't look back. I mean, that's shooting with a bow is what I want to do, and yeah, that was a lot of emotions released just for the time period it was, and the first time, and yeah, and the person I was with, Turkey John.
Yeah.
It was quite the release. It sounds like I was crying, but I was actually really laughing.
Man, I don't know what's happening in this blind, but it was just I can't get enough of it every time. And I found it. I think you talked about me posting it while y'all were up there, Todd. I came across it just looking back at some old turkey hunting videos and footage that we had, and I was like, I gotta put this back up there. I gotta throw this back on the socials.
That's a classic. It is a classic.
Yeah, I like let me fast forward to it right here. I like what you say here at the end too. This is great.
Oh, yes.
Blood everywhere on the decoy.
Oh, about
I
everyone with
love
you.
it. I love it. I
And
love it.
Turkey John Newton, my brother was sitting next to me. He goes, "Just make sure you don't get the turkey all full of blood." I'm like, "Oh yeah, like I'm trying to do that."
At least you didn't shoot the decoy and decap the
Right,
decoy,
right,
you know?
right. Yes, I was very nervous about that too. So, no.
So one of the geese that we shot out in North Dakota last weekend, we shot and wounded it, and so it came down, and then of course you have to go after it and get it. And so we sent Mason because he's the youngest. We're like, we're not going to run out there and have a heart attack. Mason, Andy's son, Mason.
Yeah, send the young buck.
Out there, we go out and see him shoot. He comes back. Like, Mason, what's going on? Where's the head? He's like, oh, it's right here.
He said he was sick and tired of watching it run, and the dog wouldn't find it, so he just shot it, and it basically took the head out. I'm like, oh gosh, boy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
How old is he now?
He's 14 turning 15, so he's, still, that teenage boy. So
Yeah. He's
We're
got the
kind of
bug though.
marriage with my daughter and his son.
yeah, I know. If there was arranged marriages still, we would be doing this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's got the hunting bug though. I pretty much any time you send in pictures from any of your experiences, he's always in them, and I love seeing it, man. He's always out there with you and doing stuff.
He saved us on Saturday.
He saved us on. He shot very well. Yes.
Fire. He was shooting really well Saturday. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. No, I was, as a young man myself, my old man did the same thing. I can remember him dragging me to the field every weekend or every, whatever during hunting season. And I loved it. I fell in love with it so much, and I just wanted to show that to him. And now I created a monster. So, so no, he loves it. I mean, he lives for it. That's the same thing. He has the passion, the love for it. I mean.
Hey guys, sorry to cut y'all off from the conversation. We'll get back to it in just a second. But first, I want to tell you guys about Hoot Camo. Hoot Camo is one of the best camouflage brands out there for the blue-collar hunter. The prices, you can't beat them. The patterns are extremely versatile. They work in so many different environments. I have worn Hoot Camo hunting whitetails, hogs, and turkeys down here in the hardwoods, the mesquites, the scrub brush of Texas. I've worn it in the flatland plains of eastern Colorado hunting mule deer. I've even worn it in the mountains of central Idaho hunting elk. It works in so many different places. It is extremely high quality gear, extremely warm, holds up well against the elements. You cannot beat it. Go to hootcamo.com, use the code FallObsession15 on your next order, no matter how big or small it is, and check out everything that Hoot Camo has on there for you guys.
Before Todd got up there, I had 3 of his buddies. So I had 4 14-year-old kids up there, and 2 of them never hunted snow geese before. And just to have that experience, to give them that adventure. It was cold too when they were out there, so I kind of felt bad. We didn't shoot that many that times when they're up there, but that's kind of my main thing in life, is just to show someone else something different. Show them what I like to do. Like, so especially these kids, a couple of these kids, they would never have this opportunity if I didn't give them to it. So and I love doing that. It makes me feel, selfishly, it makes me feel good. And it makes me feel good for them to feel good, so like that. But
Well, no, it should make you feel good. You're passing down not just your knowledge and the experience, but your passion for hunting and the outdoors and everything. And that's how you create new hunters, To your point, this is an experience those kids wouldn't have without you. And man, good on you for facilitating it and making it happen, because they're going to grow up and be and hopefully become hunters themselves. And
Well, that's a big reason why we do this. Pass our knowledge on to others of the next generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly why we're into doing this.
Well, I mean, look at your girls. I mean, you do the same thing with your girls.
Yeah. We actually, like I was telling Sam, actually, I had a guy down here just give us a fishing pole. So we got down here. We didn't bring any fishing stuff. The couple that we came with, they brought some fishing stuff. So, and just because I've never been lucky fishing out into the ocean, and he said, yeah, we've been out here fishing and we've been catching a lot. And here's a pole. It's like a Manoa what is it? Manoa. I don't know, that Disney,
like the Disney character.
Disney, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Manoa or whatever, Disney. It's like a Disney pole, kind of like a Tigger pole, just a small.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
He bought for a 16-year-old daughter, because he goes, I just wanted her to get a chance to fish. And he goes, but her boyfriend showed up and he had all the setup. He had the whole rig set up. So he said he took that and set it up for her. But then he saw our girls down by the water playing. So he just came to us and said, here, use this, take this, have it. He goes, it's all set up for fish. We actually caught quite a few fish on it today. So it's all set up for your girls. Take it, let them go fishing. And we're like, okay, cool. So we're going to get it all set up tomorrow and start trying to get some fish tomorrow. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's kind of the mentality we talked about. We try to pass our knowledge on to the next generation. And it's cool when you run into people like that, because they have that same mentality of trying to educate those and trying to give opportunities to those of the next generation,
Yeah.
Are you gonna, before y'all leave, are you gonna find somebody to give that pole to?
Oh, pass it on?
Pass it on.
That might be pretty cool, man.
We should, yeah.
Yeah, find
Absolutely, we
should. use it, make it work, and then try to find someone that can also get their kid out there fishing. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That's a great idea, because I don't know how much room we have in the car.
You don't have room for a little Disney pole.
I know. You gotta understand, it's me and 6 other girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't have room for a Disney pole, dude.
No, we don't.
No. Room for my luggage.
Strap it to the roof.
That's duct tape it to the roof. Yeah.
In fact, my daughter went and found a hermit crab today, and she pulled it out, and we were watching it. And one of her friends said, "Well, is it a boy or a girl?" I go, "Oh, geez, that's easy." She's like, "What do you mean?" I go, "Look at it." I go, "It's not moving."
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I got slapped on the shoulder for that one.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did.
I like that. That's pretty,
that's a good
pretty
one.
witty right there. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, funny. I actually got to do something really cool last night. I don't know if you guys know of Billy Moles. He's a Alaskan guide. He puts YouTubes out and stuff like that, and he's a Christian. It's Christian driven, So I got to listen to. He was in town, just next town over for me, and it was a city hall kind of thing, and like 250 people, and I got to hear. I've been watching him for about 4 or 5 years on YouTube and just listening to what he's said, and very good speaker. It was actually very touching last night what he said. He just goes through his experience through Alaska and how the Lord and stuff like that. So yeah, it was very neat. I got to do that last night. I'm very happy I got to do that. So
That's
that was
awesome.
that was a highlight of my weekend, I guess.
That's
So
awesome.
yes, so
What's his name again?
Billy Moles,
Billy Moles.
Molls. Look him up. I mean, very good. Awesome. He's been doing the whole you know guiding Alaska for 25 years. He had
Ooh.
yeah, go look him up. I think you'd like him a lot,
Yeah, I'll
Sam.
check him out.
He always has a good message behind it. Very Christian driven. Awesome dude. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What all does he guide for?
Big horn sheep, grizzly
Mm.
bears, brown bears, moose,
Okay.
caribou, all of it. Yeah.
We're
They
still
fly.
allowed to caribou hunt in 10 years, right?
Oh, seriously, I know. But he's well known. He might be a little more expensive than the new guy coming up, but I don't.
Yeah, that new guy's got that new price. So
You're darn right he does.
I'm out here trying to do it or I say do it myself, but doing it with a group of doing it yourself guys in Idaho. I'm like, I'm going I'm going on a cheat, man, as best as we can do here.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, would it be nice just to write a check for 20 grand and go do what we want? But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That would be
such is
really
not
nice.
the case.
No, it is not.
Yeah. So we actually, Andy and I were talking about that Idaho hunt and how you hooked up with that group. And I know you've explained it a few times, but I guess I remember at one point in my mind, my question is, what did you learn? Could you take Andy and I, could you guide Andy and I on an Idaho hunt? What did you learn when you're out there in Idaho?
Well,
It's mountainous.
Yeah.
yes, for a Texas
Need,
boy, it is
need to be in
very
shape.
mountainous. So I mean, that's the first and foremost thing was just, physically the toll that it takes and everything, and mentally, because you're like I live at like 800 feet elevation here in Texas,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden I'm living at 6,800 feet and hunting at 8,100 feet.
Oh,
So,
right.
it's a huge jump. And so that was jacking with me. And then also just I have, since I've, in the 8 years that I've been married and since I've had kids, I had never been like I've been on deployments and stuff for work and everything and been away from my family, but you're still in touch, right?
Right.
And that right there was away and out of touch. Like you don't have a way to communicate for over a week essentially,
Yep.
And so that was an adjustment and something that it kind of gave you a little knot in your stomach at first until you got used to it, just, not, you're like, man, if something either goes wrong out here or back home, it's like if I'm booking it, it's 24 hours before I'm back,
Right.
that sort of deal. So that's one side of it. And then for me, it was just from a gear standpoint, like the hoot gear did great, but my footwear just absolutely murdered me. And that was I didn't have the right footwear is what it came down to for that terrain and as much hiking and climbing and stuff as we did. So
What do you mean by like boots too heavy, like blisters? I mean
yes.
wetness.
So
Okay.
I took like just my hunting boots from down here and just another kind of just a general boot. Like it's not even a hunting or work specific boot. It's just, I don't know. They're just boots, man.
Yeah.
Lace
Right.
up boots.
Right.
That's all they are.
Yeah.
But and these other guys that I'm with that live up there in Idaho, they're running around in like borderline hiking shoes,
Mm,
to scale around, and they're like goats going all over the mountain, and I'm huffing and puffing in the back.
yeah.
And the first couple days I was up there, just adjusting to the altitude, I was pretty sick actually, like coming out of both ends, kind of sick.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
that was a struggle. And then once I kind of got past that and started feeling better, that's when the the poor footwear choice kind of started catching up to me. So by the end of the week, like my body felt great as far as, I'm ready to go. Let's go hunt, but
Right.
my feet are screaming at me. So that was the big gear choice that I definitely would have done differently if I could. So, and then the other thing that I learned too was just it was like we're living up there. I mean, I went for an extreme experience for sure for my first elk hunt, and we're 25 miles back on horseback.
Awesome.
Like it took us 2 days to ride into to camp, and like being that far back, if you didn't bring it with you, you ain't got it. And those guys were very well prepared. They had all the essentials that we needed, but we're back there with 8 horses and mules, running a camp and stuff. And it was like the hunting was almost secondary. And that was something I just didn't, you don't, I'll almost have to experience it before you can kind of get a grasp on it. But it was like hunting was the second most important thing we were doing. Living was the first most important thing we were doing. And we had to take care of ourselves and these animals that we brought in there with us and all this stuff. And it was like, you wake up, to hunt where we're all used to, and you wake up and you go hunting. You can hunt all day if you want, and after dark you go back in, right?
Yeah.
Well, for us it's like, no, we can't hunt until dark. We we have to like be on our horses riding back down the mountain like at sundown because it's going to take us 30 minutes to get from the where we're hunting back down to camp, and it's a steep trail, and we're not taking the horses on that in the dark. Like,
Oh,
so it's like we have to be very mindful of our time and everything too. And yeah, the hunting seemed to take up a much smaller window of our time up there than I just am used to, on a hunt, so.
And I think that's where our conversation was, Andy. We were talking about how awesome it would be to be 100% totally off grid, right? And then we started talking about. I wonder what Sam's experience was with like that, because you're from Dallas area, and so it's more in
Oh yeah.
so, but
Yeah.
you don't always live 100% off grid,
no, my
I mean, I'm not from a big town, but still, I'm not 100% off grid,
Right.
So
no, 100%. And what you said just makes complete sense. I mean, hunting was second. Surviving was the first
yeah.
thing you had to do is live in your camp and make your thing, life comfortable for the time being, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. There is, man, like we put out a 30-minute film over a week in the mountains, so there's so much that wasn't shared and everything. And like riding in the first day, we rode in, or so we had to drive in first. Like we left the house at, I don't know, 4 or 5 in the morning, went and got the horses, and then drove out there to the trailhead. And it was from the house to the trailhead was like a 6 hour drive in the
Oh,
first place. And the last 2 hours or 3 hours of that drive was just the last 19 miles because we're driving a 1 ton pickup hauling a horse trailer just down these little switchback dirt trails, weaving our way into
oh,
these mountains and everything. So like the last 3 hours, we only went 19 miles on these dirt roads. And then we get to the trailhead. Then Galen has to reshoe 2 of the horses before we can actually get on the trail. So we only rode in like a couple miles the first day, and then we put up like a little temporary camp. And that first night, like we didn't even pitch the tent. Like we were just sleeping on a pad under the stars, pretty much.
beautiful. Isn't that beautiful?
It was beautiful, but I didn't sleep a wink, man. I didn't sleep a wink. So, and then we ride the
Boys
other,
and every creepy crawly.
yeah, we ride the other however many miles to get actually back to this campsite and everything and set it up. And we were all just so beat by the end of it because also we were going to a campsite that hadn't like nobody had been back there in a decade. So it was very overgrown. There was deadfall. We had to cut our way back in there, and like
Really?
do a lot of work just to get back there. So we were all beat by the time we got that tent set up. And then it's like, all right, well, they had this stove like this little wood stove to go in the tent to keep us warm because it was going to be in the, around freezing, give or take every night.
Right.
So they had a little stove for inside this big tent they had, but it's kind of a pain to set up. So they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we're too tired. We'll set it up tomorrow." That is the coldest night's sleep I've ever had in my life. It was like 25 degrees. It like I'm sleeping in my heavyweight hoot gear in a sleeping bag with a beanie on. I'm just freezing my butt off.
Yeah, yeah, Sam. I don't know if I would have done that.
No, we all woke up and were like, we should have put the stove together. So it was just there were so many things, man, that is just it never made it into the film or wasn't really, produced. But I mean, I went up there with a great group of guys, and they all knew each other, and I knew Galen a little bit. He's a lifelong friend, him and his family, and my wife and her family. So they've all grown up together, but he's only met me and spent time with me a couple of times, in the last 8 or 10 years that I've known him. So it was cool to kind of get to hang out up there and everybody get to know each other a little bit. When I wasn't the first couple of days when I wasn't running off into the woods to go vomit.
Yeah.
So, but
Remember me? I'm saying, excuse me, I'm gonna go throw up.
yeah, yeah,
Don't mind me. No, I got cousins out in Wyoming. They just call us Flatlanders and they laugh at us. It's okay.
Yeah, that was me. I was the Flatlander for sure out there.
No, we all are, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah. But man, I mean, it was crazy how quickly things changed because it like the elk were super frustrating to deal with. And Galen's connected. Galen knows a lot of people, has a lot of great friends, and he's got a buddy with an airplane. So they went and flew over the area a week before I got there to look at where we wanted to hunt, and they spotted like a couple really nice herds of elk, some great bulls in there. So they're like, "All right, we're golden."
Hey, folks, if you guys are in the North Texas area like I am, then you need to go to Bear River Archery and Pro Shop in Van Alstyne, Texas. Justin and the guys up there have an incredible operation set up. They will take great care of you and all of your archery needs. They are the official bow shop in North Texas, a Fall Obsession. I love going there, and I'm picky. If you guys know me, I am very selective on who I let work on my bow. I will let Justin work on my bow. They do great stuff. Check out Bear River Archery and let them know that Fall Obsession sent you.
And we never could get on any of those big boys. It was particularly on the side of the mountain that he had seen them on, and where the majority of the elk sign was, which is the opposite side of the mountain from where we're camping. So like we got to go up and over every day to go to where these elk are. It was super windy over there. Just the wind was just whipping up that mountain and everything. So we figured we're like, man, there's all these drainages, going down, and heavy timber. And we're like, they're diving deep. They're not staying up here on the hill in the wind, they're way down there. But you're on top of there, you're like, well, I can go to that drainage or that one or that one. But you know that once you pick one, that's where you're going to be the whole day. Like you're not coming out and going to the next one and going to the next one. Whichever one you pick, that's like you're in on that one. And that was the case. And I guess we always pick the wrong one. I don't know. But man, there was sign everywhere, like rubs on these pine trees, just, 10, 12 feet tall. And I'm just like, that is a giant bull. And those guys up there who hunt bulls all the time are like, yeah, that's a giant bull. I was like, well, let's go find him. Like, where's he at?
Where's this guy at?
Yeah, but the one little satellite bull that we did call in that Chris ended up taking, I had him in my sights, first. And I'm bow hunting too. On top of that, I'm not even rifle hunting. I'm archery hunting, and I had him in my sights, and I just had a few branches in the way, and I chose not to send it. There's always that part in my mind that's just like, man, like my pin was on him. I was at full draw. All I had to do was squeeze in. What if I would have sent it? But if I had, could have bounced off that branch, could have wounded him, or he could have just run off and Chris never get the shot. And, Chris ended up making a good shot with the rifle when I couldn't get him with the bow. But still, having an elk that close to you where you're
seriously
at full draw, just, it was crazy.
What an experience. I know I watch these shows too, and they're like, 30, 40 yards from me. That's a big animal in
And the
front of you.
adrenaline
Oh,
rush of it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine the adrenaline rush?
oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah,
I don't
just
know if I'd be able to sit still.
yeah, just as he's coming in, like I'm there, and I was trying just to stay focused on the shot. And honestly, I think that because I was getting frustrated with my rangefinder because all that deadfall's in there, and
Oh.
I would range what I feel like is the same object two times to try and get a range, and I would get like 54 and 72. And I'm like,
Oh.
what is it? Like, I feel like, I think I even
Boy.
tell Galen on the video, I'm like, man, I can't get a range in all this crap. Like, this is ridiculous. It's so thick. But like, I was able to keep my nerves well enough, I feel like, to apply the bow hunting knowledge and skills that I have to at least get as close as I could have. And then Chris too was, I mean, that was his first elk also, and he was
Sweet.
super calm about the whole thing. Galen was the one who was all worked up, and he's hunted bulls for 22 years, but he's up there like he's next to me holding the phone, like videoing, and he's shaking like this, breathing real heavy, and I'm like, dude, you good?
You're gonna drag your ass out there, my butt too.
Well, he told me later, he was like, man, he said, I've never had a guy up here bow hunting with me before. He goes, we've always rifle hunted, growing up with my family, and every time we go out, like we don't bow hunt. So he said, pretty much as soon as we see a good one and he's within rifle range, we just dump him right there. He's like, I've never had to call one in and work one into 50 yards on this mountainside, in this giant country. He's like, he's like, that was the biggest adrenaline rush I've ever had because he did all the call-ins. So he has that side of the experience to where like he got this bull that close to him and he was going crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I thought he was going to fall off that mountain.
It goes back to what Andy said earlier about all the work that you do just to get somebody else an opportunity, how much that makes you feel or how good that makes you feel inside
Oh yeah.
to allow somebody else to get that opportunity. And
Well, and that was the cool thing too, because like we using like just deer camp, whitetail camp as an example, right? Most of the time, you might share camp with somebody, but then you all go to your respective spots, or maybe you got one guy with you or whatever. And then somebody shoots a deer and you all get together after the hunt and celebrate and everything. That's what I've known as quote unquote hunting together. But for us, it's four of us that are for a week doing everything together and like trying tactically just to accomplish the common objective of shooting one elk.
Oh, right.
And we didn't care who got it. And that was one thing I never really experienced to that extent was, okay, yeah, Chris is the one who actually shot this elk and put his tag on it. But it was like a cumulative effort of everybody to even make this thing happen. Like literally every single person played a different role in making this happen. So it was Chris's elk, but it also felt like our elk at the same time.
Sure.
We all felt the same kind of a same feeling of just ownership of it, I guess. So
That's so neat. I have never experienced that before, and I
yeah,
need
I
to
hadn't
experience
either.
that.
I
Yeah,
hadn't
so.
either. That was the first time, and I was like, man, this is really cool. It's funny because Galen, Chris and I both. I mean, Chris has been elk hunting before, but that was his first elk, and my first time. Period. So we're like, he shot him. The elk fell like on this perfectly massive flat rock, so it was perfect for us to cut him up and quarter him and
Perfect.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
but it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and again, we're like, all right, we gotta get off this mountain with this thing before dark, and the horses are way far away. It's just an absolute mess of stuff that is in between us and the horses. So Galen starts cutting on him, and then he looks at me. He's like, You've dressed and skinned deer before, right?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, it's just like a big deer. I'm gonna go get the horses, be back in an hour, y'all get to work." And he just takes off. And I looked at Chris and I was just like, all right, it's just a big deer. Let's get to work. So Chris and I skinned that thing out and got started getting it all cut up, and Galen came back and with the horses, and yeah, we load he rode the horses right up to that thing, and we loaded it in the saddle panniers and took it off the mountain. So
Sweet. What an experience. Gosh, I know that I got to do that in my lifetime before I go.
Yeah, I I might this next time I might go for one that's not 25 miles back, but because when we rode out, man,
We'll do a
we're
pending
like,
case.
oh, we're gonna do it in a day. It took us 2 days to get in here. We're gonna go out in one day.
Ooh,
That
ooh.
was the longest horseback ride I've ever had in my life.
Oh
We,
man.
what's that?
And even for a Texas guy.
Oh man. Oh man, I was sore. We woke up at like 4:30 in the morning. We had camp broken. We were like packed up on the horses. We were actually riding out of there by like 9, I think. And then we got to the truck right before dark is when we
Gee.
finally got out of there. But then we still got 6 hours, right? And I don't know. I may have told you about what we had going on with the truck and the trailer on the way out, Todd. I don't remember. This was briefly like in the video at the very end, but we are, it's now dark and we're driving down that same switchback road and everything that we were on before. And, we're all just in the truck, hanging out, having a good time, blaring some music, just, happy we're going home, happy we got an elk, we had a good time, and we're probably about halfway on these dirt roads. And we feel just boom, and the trailer just sink, and we're like, oh, we blew a tire. So
Oh.
Galen pulls over and we all get out and we walk around to the driver's side of the trailer. And keep in mind, it's this big horse trailer with, two tires and wheels on each side. We walk up to it and the front tire is blown flat. The back tire and wheel are completely gone. And the
Ah!
fender is like ripped off. And we're looking at it like we never felt anything. And Galen is the calmest guy in the world. He's just looking at it, he's like, huh, I wonder when that happened. And I'm looking at him like, dude, we're 4 hours from home. We don't have two spare tires. What are we gonna do? Like I'm trying not to freak out because I'm looking at him like, how are you so calm right now?
Like really?
So to make matters worse, he gets the spare tire, which he had borrowed off his father-in-law's horse trailer because his horse trailer used to not have a spare tire. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit over the hub assembly. So we end up taking a good tire off the other side and putting it on the bad side. So there's at least one good tire on each side. And then we screw this tire that doesn't fit on as best as we can because something's better than nothing, right? So we screw that thing on and we're like, we have 10,000 pounds of animals in the back of this trailer and we're relying on these two little spindly tires on this dirt and rock road. Like, we're doomed. Like, and we have no cell service. We can't talk to anybody. So, and the cool thing though is like the iPhones, the latest update or whatever update was last year, they had like you can satellite text off of them if you're in the right spot. So like
Oh.
every evening, Galen, for example, was able to like send his wife a text or something, off of satellite. But for whatever reason, he couldn't get his phone to find a satellite on this road when we're driving out. So we're just like, we'll just keep driving as far as we can. So we're like going 2 to 5 miles an hour, just creeping off this mountain and everything. We finally get to the blacktop, and he finally gets a satellite to ping, but it's almost midnight. And we're like, who in the world is going to be up? So he just starts sending copy and paste and sending text to all of his brothers, like just one text, quickly explain it. And he finally finds one of his brothers that's awake, and he's like, say no more. Just keep going as far as you can. I'll figure it out. Just, help's on the way. So
Really?
we drive now on the blacktop for probably 2 more hours, and then we finally see headlights coming the other way. That brother had called another brother who went and got his truck and trailer, drove all the way out there, and just until he found us. He knew what mountain we were on and what trailhead we went to, and he just drove until he saw our headlights and then pulled over, put all the horses in his trailer and took the horses. And yeah, once we got all that weight off the trailer, then two tires were fine and we could sail the rest of the way home. But from the time we broke camp to the time we actually pulled back in the driveway at his house was like 25 hours.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was like 5 something in the morning the next day when we were rolling in, and we're like, I showered and crawled into bed, and I told my
Yeah.
wife, I was like, you got no idea
No
what just
idea what I just went
happened.
through.
She's like, I thought you'd be home earlier. I was like, nope, sure
Nope,
not.
nope, nope.
They say after the shot, the work begins. That's definitely the case, huh?
Yeah, like and all that wasn't even in the film. I think I put something in there about, us having problems, and it took us a long time to get home and everything. And I what the reason we lost a tire too was because the night before we went out, a big windstorm had come through and blown a bunch of trees over. And some guy had already drove that road with a chainsaw and cut the road out, but he had to be driving like a Toyota Tacoma or something because he only cut them wide enough for his truck and not a
Oh,
dually pickup with a horse trailer. So I have pictures and videos of him shooting the gap in this big rig that he's driving, and he's got inches on either side of his rig. It's like this is just sketchy.
ooh,
Yeah,
ooh.
it was crazy, man. But I mean, that's just stuff you can't make up, and experiences
No,
No,
that,
no.
no.
would I, those pieces, right? Would I want to be up all night and have, be stressing about, am I going to be able to get back, or are we going to be able to get these horses back? No, I wouldn't want to do that again, but I also value the experience and wouldn't trade it. So,
100%. What an experience. I mean, the adventure.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can't put a price tag on that, you
No,
know?
no, not at all. No. Yeah, it was crazy, man. But I've been rambling about the story probably
And then
longer
next
than
time you
y'all
go out,
claim,
everything
but
will be perfect, and it'll be a memory for sure. But you won't have that special memory, you know.
oh yeah, I know I'll never forget that for
No,
sure. I'll
I'm sure
never
you will
forget
never forget that
that.
one.
Yeah.
No, I never heard about that, so I'm glad I got to hear that. So that made me happy.
Yeah, that's the behind the scenes look of
That's
the
behind the
the
scenes. I
story
like it.
never told.
And not many people are going to know about that.
No, it was just, yeah, golly. Memories, man. It's a fun
For
time,
sure.
That's why we do it, right?
Yeah.
Adventures, memories. So we can't ever lose that and always remember.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I showed up with these guys, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna film this. I'm gonna film this hunt. Like, y'all are gonna look at me like I'm a nerd when I'm videoing everything, but you'll thank me later."
yes,
And after putting together the film and sending it to them, they're all like, "Oh man, that's awesome," and it's cool that the four of us have, even though it's only 30 minutes of the week, essentially it's the highlights, and we have that to look back on, for the rest of our lives, and
hundred
remember
percent.
remember the trip. And that's what I enjoy videoing about, or why I enjoy videoing so many of our experiences, or our team doing it, is just because it I mean, it's saved there forever, pretty much. Your turkey hunt that we showed earlier, it's
Right,
saved
exactly. Say it forever.
forever.
It's a
Yeah.
classic. I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
A fall obsession staple, dare I say.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I know. I wish me and Todd did a little bit more filming, but it was so cold up there. Those GoPros, you get them below 32 degrees, they don't. The battery just sucks right out of there. So
Hmm.
that's
We did get some. Remember Mason?
Mason. Yeah,
He threw his camera down. We had a volley coming. He just threw his camera down, and man, he got some really good footage. So we're just,
Nice.
but he hit it on Snapchat. So we're trying to figure out how to convert it from Snapchat into a usable file. So,
of course the boy. Of course, the boys on social media in the middle of hunting. I just don't. Come on. Thought I raised you better, boy.
yeah,
Priorities.
so
Priorities.
I've been trying to get up with Andy for a few years now, and it just hasn't worked with the calendar. And this year just happened to work out exactly with the migration and the way the calendar's set up. And we had the Missouri Snow Goose was scheduled, but they had that big blizzard go through Missouri area about a week before we were scheduled to go out there, and it destroyed everything. And so because it destroyed everything, they canceled on us again. They canceled on us. So yeah, Andy said, "What are you doing in March? What are you doing at the end of March?" I'm like, "Actually, nothing, because my spring break is later this year. So typically I go end of March, beginning of April. This year we're in the second week of April, and that's when we're on spring break. So we were able to get something set up finally, and that was awesome. Yeah. So, and the
That's
first day,
awesome.
the first morning, it was just the two of us, just Andy and I. and we got into geese right away, and we were hammering away right away. So good time.
Heck yeah.
So,
Are
and
you
then
like
we
doing parkour over there, Andy? You're like rolling around
No,
on the
I was
couch.
I was actually I know I was trying to find my chew. I was having a Nick fit. I found it. All is well. We can go on.
Yeah, yeah. We're all mellowed out now. No,
No,
that's awesome.
no,
So
and
the
I'm
thing
so
with this hunt though was we killed a lot of birds in a short amount of time. We didn't, I mean, the first day we didn't hunt the entire day. We came up normal midday. We came up at about 11:30, 12 o'clock, got something to eat, went back out at like 2:30.
Hey guys, Trophy Edits is a Fall Obsession podcast partner. We all have mounts on our walls that represent a significant moment, a significant harvest in the woods for each and every one of us, and photographs can do the same. I'm sure you guys have pictures from years past, hunting with loved ones or being in the woods with family and friends that also represent those big moments. And what Trophy Edits does is they showcase those moments for you guys, just absolutely make your pictures explode and to the level that you guys can put them on the wall and also have that memory forever represented in your home, your office, your man cave, whatever it might be. Give Trophy Edits a chance to do the work for you guys. And again, they make those pictures just absolutely awesome with their professional team of editors. So go to Trophy Edits website. The link is in the podcast description. That lets them know that you guys came from us, and use the code FALLOBSESSION at checkout to save you guys some money.
But we only hunted from like 2:30 to 4:30 because it started raining really bad. And we said, you know what, we're not gonna sit out here in the rain and get soaked. And it was like, I don't know, 50, 60 degrees. So it was warmer when we were out there. Well, when we decided to hang it up, Andy came out and picked Mason and I up out in the blind. By the time we got out of the cornfield, it was below 30.
Yeah.
It dropped like that.
Ooh.
And in that 2 hours, we ended up shooting 9 birds in 2 hours.
Dang.
So yeah, we were crushing it that evening. Next morning we woke up and there was a thick layer of ice. And in fact, the UP got it, and they're still shut. There's still a lot of houses without power, a lot of areas without power, and they're still struggling with that. The same ice storm that went through. We woke up at, I don't know, 7:30 or so, or 6:30, I guess it was, and looked outside and we're like, yep, nope, there's a lot of ice out there. I don't think we'll be able to make it out. So we decided to sleep in a little bit. Yeah.
No. Todd woke up. He says, I go outside, take a pee, tell me what the weather's like. He goes outside and I go, no, we're sleeping in a little bit.
There's a ton of ice out there though. So we ended up going out there at 10:30, and at 10:30 the field was loaded full of snow geese.
Whoops.
Yeah, so we ended up getting a couple on the ground before we even got to the blind. So
Nice.
But again, 10:30 to 12, between 10:30 and 12, we ended up shooting 11 geese in that hour and a half.
Oh wow.
So we got a lot of geese in a short amount of time.
That's awesome.
So,
Yeah, you think about, well, would have been worth it to get there at 6:30 and freeze our butts off and maybe shoot a few more? Yeah, probably might have been worth it. But I sleeping's kind of nice.
well, that's what we said. We were trying to hang out. First of all, Andy and I said it. We're like, I need some Andy time, and Andy, I need to see you. So this is the reason why we set this whole thing up too. And so we invited other staffers, and they just couldn't make it on their schedule. But in the end, it was Andy and I, the two staffers, and we're like, we need our fall obsession buddy time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool. And so it was a hard winter, and so.
No, it's I'm so happy you got to come out there. It's up there where my old man lives. It's my kind of my serenity, my peace, it's where I love to be, and to have you there with me, and yeah, it put everything together. I don't not many people get to go up there, so, but yeah.
Nice.
And hopefully get a couple more next year too. I mean, things are looking up. So we're getting a farmstead hopefully soon, and can be able to host a few more people up there soon. So.
That's
we ended
awesome.
up shooting more geese in that short amount of time than we have when we had the Mound City hunts. I mean, the most we ever shot in Mound City were 17, and so Andy and I were able to put, like I said, 22 down in a shorter amount of time. Because in Mound City we would hunt like 2 full days, and I don't think we got 2 full days of hunting in, did we?
No, maybe 12 hours.
No, no, no.
And plus, I will just say this. Yes, we did have a heater in the blind because
No. Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
grandma gets a little cold and I'm grandma and I like to have my hands warm.
That saved. It really did save us on Saturday. We were sitting in there, and it was like 17 degrees with a wind chill. But with the heater, it was windy. It was windy as all get out. But with the heater, it was perfectly fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
man,
Yeah.
I definitely am a fan of the heaters and all that kind of stuff. My dad and I joke about it because we still share deer camp to this day, but now on the Texas dirt place, we have a camper, and when it's cold, we put a heater in there and we stay warm and everything, and we're looking at each other like, I remember growing up as a kid, we would tent camp, for
Yeah.
deer hunting and stuff, and we're just like, have we gotten soft? And we're like, no, we got smarter.
That's exactly what it is. We got smarter. Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
My old man, I was asking for propane tanks, and he looks at me, and he's a military guy, and he looks at me and goes, "You're a wussy." But that's
No,
I
I'm
mean,
smarter. I'm smarter.
yeah, no, exactly. Funny,
No,
funny. Yes.
I'm not all smarter. I haven't talked about this at all on the podcast or anything. So here we go. But
Awesome.
I did have a whoopsie this last year out at deer camp. It was actually too, it was the trip when I actually did go out there and actually shoot a deer and shot that doe this last year. Um, I shot that doe. I was out there by myself. My dad wasn't out there. My son wasn't out there. Nick wasn't out there. It was just me and my dog, pretty much. So I shot
Sweet.
that doe like the first evening or something, and then hunted the next morning. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna hunt this other stand um, this evening. And because I had deer coming into it, I'm like, all right, we're going on a roll. Like we're just gonna start punching some tags. Like we're gonna make this happen. So I was like, all right, it's to stay on the far south side. But deer typically per the camera weren't moving until around 4:35, and it was, noon one. So I was like, I'm gonna take a snooze. So I took a snooze, and during my snooze, it rained, and
Oh,
I went out and like it stopped raining when I woke up. I was like, oh, I didn't realize it was gonna rain. I thought it was cleared the whole time out here. So I went to get in my truck back out of camp, and I got my
oh,
truck stuck in camp.
Oh,
oh no,
And I'm just spinning tires. I got a four-wheel drive truck, and it's just slick. My tires are like toward the end of their life, so they don't have the tread on them that they used to,
yeah.
which
no.
that my biggest complaint. Otherwise, I could have gotten out. But I remember texting Nick. I was like, "You never believe what I just did. I just messed up big time. I'm stuck in camp."
Oh,
So, oh, we lost Todd, but no, it was funny. Like I got stuck in camp, and we have a stand that's 300 yards from camp. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna hunt there. But of
that's
course, I'm
it.
hunting there, and my camera from the stand I wanted to go to was going off. And I'm like, oh, should have been there.
Ah,
I
dang it,
was
dang
I was so frustrated. I text my wife. I was like, well, I don't know when I'm coming home. It's going to depend on when I get
it.
my truck out.
I yeah, I might have to float myself home, I guess.
Yeah, I was so I park in a different spot now.
I hear you. Now,
I did
now,
not pay attention to the weather.
how is that dirt when you get like a little bit of rain? Does it turn like silky and slicky? I mean,
Yeah,
is it kind of like that? So,
it's slick, man. Like I was not buried, I mean it was just inches. I'm not like sunk to I'm not sunk to my, frame or anything like that. Nothing crazy. It is just snotty and slick. And like I said, my tires are getting toward the end of their life, and I'm cheap and blue collar, so I'm going to get the most out of them, right?
you're dang right
So,
you are for
yeah.
sure.
So, yeah, I yeah, that's what my situation was. So,
And then how Todd said it started raining, and I got really nervous because that up there in North Dakota too. Once it gets like a little bit of moisture, all that topsoil, it just turns very slicky, and
yeah.
going through a cornfield and a plowed field is it gets a little nervous there. So especially it froze too. It was a kind of like a freezing rain, and I was a little bit nervous about that. And the reason why we slept in that morning is because all the decoys had that ice on. And luckily it was foggy that morning. If it was sunny and there was ice on those decoys, they would have picked us out. Those decoys would have shined, and we would never shot as many birds. And that's why I kind of prolonged the hunt in the morning, is just kind of see if the sun would come up a little bit and maybe melt off that ice. But they didn't mind the ice apparently because there was fog. So that's about it. Yeah. So funny story. I'll tell you my oops up there.
Okay.
So I had me and the boy. We had, like I said, I had a group of guys up, Buddy and 3 14-year-olds and 4 14-year-olds, and I got out of the field to go scouting because we weren't shooting anything. I said I got to go look for a field. We got to shoot some geese. Anyways, I took my son with me. We're driving around. Well, we like to drive around. If there's any low flocks coming over the road, we like to stop the car and shoot them, jump out and shoot them. Well, we slowed down the gravel road. I slowed down the gravel. I was driving, and I waited for this flock to come over. And he goes, "Dad, are we going to jump out and shoot these?" I go, "Yeah." Well, I forgot to put the truck in park.
Oh no!
Me and Mason both jump out. We start shooting, and all of a sudden I look behind me, and the truck's not there.
Oh
and
no!
I go, "It's in the ditch."
Oh no!
And Mason goes, "Why'd you park the truck in the ditch?" I didn't park the truck in the ditch.
How far did it roll?
Oh, I'd say a good 70 yards.
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad my old man, I didn't tell him about this, so I'm glad my old man's not gonna listen to this thing. So I'm glad I'll tell you guys.
Podcast. If he does, he gets to start the episode after this one.
No, yeah, I'll start with a noose around my neck and you go, "This dumbass." It was, it was one of those, we got in the truck, I got out of the ditch, and we sat there, and I just had a moment, I looked at Mason and go, "No one needs to know about this."
Yeah, this stays here. What happens in camp stays in camp.
Stays in camp. But of course, I admit my faults. I think it's kind of funny, and just nothing happened, nothing got damaged, no one got hurt, no one saw it. Luckily, we're in North Dakota, there's less people there, so I shot on the road, jumped in the truck, backed out, got on the road, no one saw.
Did you hear about my dad's truck getting stolen 2
No.
seasons ago?
Yeah, you told me about that, Sam.
Yeah. So I had my dad on our show. I think it's like episode 174, is a while back, but I had him on our show to talk about this himself. But so he was out there hunting. This was the fall before last, so it would have been 2023 season. He's out there deer hunting, and by himself. Nobody else is out there. I'm at the house with the kids and everything. So he goes out for the morning hunt, parks his truck where he always parks it. He drives an older pickup. He drove a 05 F-150. So he parks his truck, goes walking to his stand. He hunts the morning, doesn't see anything. So he gets out and he walks back to where his truck was parked, and he walks up and his truck's not there.
Yep.
And he's like, "What?" And he thought, well, maybe I didn't put it in park, or the parking brake broke and it rolled down the hill or something. So he walks all the way down the bottom of the hill. No truck. It's like, what in the world? And about that time, he hears, "Brrr." And he turns around and looks, and topping the hill, coming back at him, is his truck. And this dude's driving it. And he drives right past my dad, just hauling butt, taking off. And my dad's he said he's just in shock. He's like, "What is happening? What in the world?" So he calls. Go ahead.
And Andy, you got to understand that the dirt property is not in a very heavily populated area.
No. And my dad is hunting literally smack dab in the middle of it. He's not close to a property line or anything. He is smack dab in the middle of it where the stand that he's hunting is. So the truck takes off and everything. So he calls 911, like, "My truck's just been stolen." And shortly after that, we have a bunch of oil and gas wells on the property, and there's frequently workers driving through to check those. And one of those guys comes by, rolls down his window, and, "Can I help you?" And Dad's like, "Well, I guess you can drive me back to camp. My truck got stolen." Well, turns out that dude was like on the volunteer fire department, and it was already all over the scanner that, somebody had stolen a truck. He's like, "Oh, you're the guy." So he hops in, and the guy gives him a ride back up to camp. Sheriff comes out and all that kind of stuff. So my dad calls me at my house, and I knew he was hunting. So he calls me, late morning. So I'm thinking, oh, he shot something. So I answer the phone, and he starts the conversation like he does every other conversation. He sounds perfectly normal. He's like, "How are you?" I'm like, "I'm good. How are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm not too good. My truck just got stolen." And I'm just, "What? Your
Out
truck
there?
your truck got stolen while you were hunting?" Like I couldn't believe it. So I load up the kids. I dropped them off with my mother-in-law, and I headed out there because I'm like, well, you don't have a ride home, so I'm
Right.
gonna go out there and figure it out. So I drive out there and I meet up with him and take him into town to the sheriff's station. And by the time we get there, or shortly after we get there, they come in. They're like, "Mr. Thrash, we found your truck. It's here in town. He dumped it." He goes, "It's pretty beat up. He drove through a bunch of fences and a bunch of stuff." So this guy, basically, when he took off with Dad's truck, at one point he came to a road that's a T. It's right over there by where we dressed out your pig that you shot, Todd. There's a T right there, and if you turn right, it takes you to camp. If you turn left, it takes you to a gate in between us and the neighbors. If he had turned right, he would have had a free path to freedom, basically out of the property. But he turned left instead. So he obviously didn't know our place. So he turned left, and he proceeded to drive my dad's truck through like gates and like 7 different fences before he like through our place and the neighbor's place before he got back to an actual road. Drove it into town, dumped the pickup on, a little side street, and had his buddy come pick him up, stole a bunch of stuff out of the back seat of my dad's truck, and took off. The funniest part about this is my dad, the night before this happened, my dad had shot a big old hog out there. And by the time he found the hog, dressed it out, and got it back to the truck, it was later than the processor he uses there in town. They were closed. So it was going to be like 35 degrees that night. So he's like, "I'm just going to stuff some ice in the cavity and leave it in the bed of the truck, and I'll take it in the morning after the morning hunt. Hopefully have a deer to go with it." So that dude stole that truck with the pig in the back. So I'm standing there with my dad at the sheriff's station, and the sheriff comes in and tells him, "Hey, we found your truck." My dad's first question is the pig still in the back? That's the first thing he asked the sheriff, is the pig still in the back? So
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the show. Hope you guys are enjoying it. There's so many different places that you guys can tune in to Fall Obsession Podcast, and one of them is the Outdoor Call radio app. Outdoors Dan from Respect the Game TV, he created an app that you can download on any device where you can stream hunting shows and podcasts on a loop every single day. Our show, Fall Obsession Podcast, plays on that loop on Mondays. That's the same day as our new publications on the other apps. And there's also tons of other hunting shows and podcasts on there that you guys can listen to. Go download the Outdoor Call radio app today. It is free. You can start streaming immediately. And be sure that you follow their Facebook page, because Outdoors Dan does some live radio shows throughout the week. And even if you are not local to those radio stations, his broadcasts are shared on his Facebook Live. It's Outdoors Dan and the Outdoor Call radio app. Go download it today.
The sheriff takes us out there to where the truck is, where they found it. It's drivable, but it's beat to crap. Like, just everything's busted. It's dented all over, scratched all over, mud everywhere. Like, I mean, he was able to drive it all the way home, but I mean, insurance totaled it. It's a 20-year-old pickup truck, so they totaled it out. But so he gets his truck back. We finish everything up with law enforcement that we got to figure out, and he drives that truck to the processor to go drop off his pig, because he's like, "It's noon. It's only 45 degrees out, so it's still good. So we can
still good.
drop this thing off." So he pulls into the processor and starts filling out the paperwork, and mentions to the guy that he was late this morning because his truck got stolen. And the guy's like, "Oh, you're the guy. So everybody in the processor then has to come out and see my dad's truck because
Knew
like
what was going on.
it's a small town, man. Everybody knew that a hunter's truck got stolen that morning by noon. So like everybody wanted to see it. It was small town, breaking news. So,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
so the funny part is this guy that stole it the day before, him and his girlfriend had been caught shoplifting in Walmart or something there in town, and they stole a car out of the parking lot. And it was like this county-wide or area-wide police chase all day long. They were leading law enforcement all around. They were chasing them and stuff all afternoon. They dumped the car in like some guy's pond in his front pasture and took off on foot right before dark. They caught the girlfriend that night, but they couldn't find him, and he just happened to just wander through our property. And my dad could have hunted any other stand that morning, and the guy would have never stumbled upon his truck. It was
Except for
just
that one.
happened to work
Oh
out
my
that
God.
way. It was it was
Yeah.
crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Just
That
you
is
can't
insane.
make
That
it
is-
up.
No, you can't make that up. No, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Did he
Yeah.
ever get caught? Did he ever get caught?
he did. He got picked up on a warrant or something up in Oklahoma like a month or two later and got arrested and charged for everything and all. I mean, he already had all sorts of stuff on him before he even shoplifted as far as I know. But yeah, they did pick him up like a couple months later. His nickname is Lucky. Like
No way.
his whole life, the dude's nickname is Lucky. Like, there I looked up the little newspaper of the Breckenridge, Texas, and all this stuff and was trying to follow the news story as it progressed. And yeah, so and so quote unquote lucky, whatever, it's like this dude ain't so lucky.
No, hey, guy ain't so lucky.
Thank
You
your
need to
luck
change your
right
name.
out, bud.
Yep. Good.
But no, it
He
was.
was.
It
He was in
was.
a sense, I guess, when he stumbled
Yeah.
across your dad's truck in the middle of nowhere.
He thought he was lucky for a little while
Thought
there
he
for
was,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it was. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy.
Oh, I bet that was. Oh, that's. Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's an epic story. That's like I've never heard of anything like that. Yep.
No, I
No.
mean neither. That's crazy.
No, I was just shocked when my dad called me and was like, "Yeah, my truck just got stolen." I'm like,
And you're like,
What?
what?
and my first thought is like, oh
You're
well,
parking downtown? What's going on?
yeah, I was like, my first thought was like one of the well guys because there's so much well traffic through there and everything. But then I'm just like, man, my dad's truck is an older pickup, and what? Why would they steal that? It doesn't make any sense to me, So
So it wasn't one of those that the young kids look at and say, "I need the rims off that one."
no, it wasn't one of those. It wasn't one of those.
And maybe the bumper too, if it just falls off.
Well, he definitely was trying to rip it off. Golly.
Oh man. How much damage with gates and stuff? He must have done a lot of damage with that, going through those gates and shit.
So there was only one fence and one gate on our property that had to be fixed because of it. All the others were unfortunately our neighbors.
That's too bad.
He drove, basically exited our property through the mutual fence, and then he drove through a bunch of other fences that cross divided the neighbor's place before he actually got to a road. So I don't know what the exact dollar figure was, but yeah, not cheap.
No, I'm not.
You guys got cows on your property too, right, Sam?
Yeah. So as soon as I got my dad situated and he dropped off the pig and took off back home, I went back out there to go find where he drove through the fence and found it and patched it back up at least so that the cows wouldn't get out. And then I let the landowner know like, hey, this is what happened. I know it doesn't sound real, but this is what happened. And I did my best to patch the fence up so that the cows won't leave, but you might want to have a fence guy come out here and take care of it. So
fix it. Yeah.
So
shoot. Well, that was entertaining. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I didn't know if you heard about that. I
didn't hear about that one yet.
I was like, golly, man, that's Just one of those things. Can't make it up. So
No, you just can't make it up. Wow, funny.
yeah, when you talked when you talk about your oopsie, I was like, well, here's another oopsie.
Who's another? Oh, we got other oopsies. Oh no. Yeah, I know, Todd. How'd you like North Dakota? Different terrain, huh?
I loved North Dakota. Yeah, I loved it. It was, like I said, temperature similar to Michigan that time of year. My adventure was when I came home and all the storms that were rolling through, you know. So, but I love North Dakota. I love the terrain. I loved how flat it is, the rolling hills and stuff like that. There are a ton of trees. The thing that stuck out to me were the lakes. You would point one out and say, "Hey, that's a lake." I'm like, "Are you sure that's a lake? That looks like a pond."
Right.
And those are lakes
Lakes,
up here. Yeah.
lakes and
And
ponds are different classifications in different states, I think.
so and I was pointing that out to Heather on our way down here to Alabama. I'm like, yeah, in North Dakota, you see that pond right there? That was about the size of the lakes in North Dakota. She's like, are you serious? I go, I'm totally serious. I go, and Andy said we could go out there and catch walleye and pike, and we could catch all kinds of fish out there. She goes, really? I said, yeah. Absolutely. I go, you can't use a motorboat, obviously, because there's no boat launch or anything. But
Right.
I go, Andy said you could fish out of them. And so that was a big thing that stuck out to me. And then of course driving down the road and seeing all the pheasants and the woodcock and everything, the quail and stuff like that along the side of the road. That was kind of cool too.
Oh.
One other thing too, the jump shooting. That was awesome. That was a blast.
Yep. Not many people get to do that.
Don't get to do that, but that was awesome. And that kind of, dude, my shoulder is bruised from here. I think I sent you a picture of it actually.
I got the picture, yes.
Yeah. So
I made Todd shoot a lot last weekend.
I was gonna ask for those of us that, I mean, I obviously know what it is, but for our listeners that don't, what's jump shooting?
So in North Dakota, Andy explained to me that if you see a flock of geese that are in a field, and if the field's not marked, you're able to shoot them. You're able to jump out of your car and shoot at
Oh,
them
really?
and
Wow.
try to harvest them. Yeah, yeah.
So the big thing is in North Dakota, if it's not posted, you could hunt it. I don't live by that. I always like to talk to the farmer and just make
Yeah.
sure, just kind of say, hey, I'm going to be on your property. I mean, yeah, it's legal to hunt it. And what North Dakota did now is electrically post it. So you have to be careful with that because they don't have to post their land now. They can post it online. And if you don't know if it's online and you go on that land, they can obviously it's trespassing and you can get fines for that stuff like that. So that's a little bit different thing. But for me, I always like to go talk to the farmer and just say, hey, I'm going to be in 95% of the time they're going to go, yeah, kill them all, especially at this time of year and stuff like that. So I always like to talk to it. But yes, I was telling Todd because I was looking at my phone on X and I'm like, okay, is this thing posted? Can we go out there if we need to? And it wasn't posted. So jump shooting is we drive around and if we see a flock and it's close to the road, we make a strategically planned assault and jump shoot them.
It's totally legal.
It's totally legal. And trust me, we've talked to multiple game and fish up there and stuff like that. And one of my favorite things, one game and fish officer said to me is like, I asked him, I said, yeah, you can shoot off the road. Just make sure your door is open, one foot's on the ground, and watch out for semis. And semis? And trust me, when those grain trucks come across, roll through those gravel roads, you better watch out because they're not stopping.
Yeah. Man, that reminds me of like Colorado when I was out there hunting with Tim, hunting mule deer out there, because it's just stuff like that, like what you just talked about. It's so foreign to me because down here it's like you got a fence line, that's your property, and
that's it.
Like, yeah, that's it. And people hold their land close to their hearts, and sometimes it gets ugly because people don't share well when it comes to that kind of stuff down here. But up there, it's just like we're driving around all these fields. There's no fences. Like there's not even a ditch practically. Like it's just boom there. And you're looking for these little white or yellow signs on the corners to be able to tell you if you can hunt big game or small game in that field that you're looking at, and obviously Onyx and tools like that help. And for the ones that are, not walking like that and private land, the Burgess family has a lot of connections. I think when we were up there, like for the week, I think we mapped it on Onyx. We scouted like 68,000 acres for mule deer. It's insane. But yeah, it's so foreign to me, stuff like that. Just
Right.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go back to the Snow Goose. I want to touch base on that too. When me and Todd were out there pheasant hunting, I mean, Burgess have a lot of land out there they can hunt. I mean, and big muleys. Their neighbor Tim brought us over to one of their neighbors. I mean, gorgeous muleys. I mean, world class muleys that you're never gonna shoot in your life. I mean,
and he's got. I think he took Mike and I. I'm pretty sure to the same place, and he's got like 10 or 20 of them up there, right?
Yes.
Insane.
So
insane. And all from there, all from like
that area,
homegrown his land just in his lifetime, and all these 180, 200 class bucks that he's killed. And of course, that was after I shot my muley, and I was like, well, I shot a freaking baby, but I wouldn't change the experience for one thing, but I'm looking at all these muleys like, holy cow, that's the caliber of bucks that are out here. That's insane.
Seriously trying to humble you a little bit.
Oh yeah, just giants in the corners of these fields.
Yeah.
And then for the jump shooting, another part of jump shooting is because we had permission in the field and we didn't want to set up, so we kind of just sat on the tree line and we just parked the truck tight to the trees and wait till the geese flew over the trees and we just let them have it.
That works too.
Yeah.
But it's fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I don't doubt that we'll chat a little bit after we finish, but for the sake of the podcast, I'll probably wrap it up here. I know that just like every time that we do this, we could probably sit here for another 3 hours and keep carrying on the conversation. So, but I'll let our listeners go. I'll let them move on to another episode.
Sounds good.
But I appreciate both of y'all taking the time this evening to join me on here and talk a little bit about your hunt and just hang out. It's a good time.
Absolutely. Always good time. Yep,
always good time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll do it again in the near future. Thank you guys for listening. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm back again with you guys next week for another podcast. Catch you then.